So I want to talk about something I've been adding to some of my operations, or I'm eventually going to add it to all of them. But basically, whenever you post something on the auction house for 48 hours, you're going to pay 60% of the vendor sale price as a deposit. And then if it doesn't sell, you lose that deposit. So in TSM, there's something called dbregionsalerate, and so I've got a couple of items here that are not posting because I've basically added this in. So what it does is it looks at the vendor sale price and the daily sale rate. So let me make sure that's right. Daily sale rate. Some of these items, the daily sell rate is very low, 0.01. So that means in theory, you're going to post it for 100 days before it actually sells. So maybe that's 50 postings or something like that. So I want to kind of weed out some of the stuff that is like, hey, this has no value in posting it. Maybe it's better just to either disenchant it or vendor it. So I've been adding this string to a lot of my operations, but then I thought, well, hey, what if I want to change this up a little bit? So what I did is I came here to custom sources, and I've added this vendorcheckmin, and I've actually multiplied it by 1.2. So the idea is that I'm still going to make ideally a 20% profit if it eventually does sell, and then I add in a few other things. Let's say, like what I was doing earlier was, I was adding in like a 20 times vendor sell. So most items will sell within about 20, but you kind of figure, hey, if it's going to take 20 times to sell it, then maybe it's better to vendor it anyways. And then you don't want to sell something for below how much it, if you could disenchant it and sell those ingredients for actually more than the item is worth. So this kind of adds in some extra safety measures so that you don't sell something for below the vendor price or below the destruction price. So it kind of just raises a flag that, hey, you need to check this to make sure that, are you sure you really want to post it? So I also came up with I first called it vendor check, which you can see the above one here, but I eventually will delete this because I want to I might still have a few operations that are using it. But so I wanted to come up with the normal one. So instead of making that one 1.2 times, I went ahead and made it a little bit less. So the idea behind that is that if there's a difference between the minimum price, and if the minimum price is higher than the normal price, then we'll get a situation like this. So so on here, the minimum is 454, the normal is 401. So it says, oh, hey, I'm not going to post this because you've got some invalid numbers here, because TSM doesn't know what to do, which is a good thing because it's catching this. So this tells me that, hey, maybe I need to just vendor it or disenchant it or something like that. So anyway, so when you go back to your operations, instead of having this long number, I forget where I was at, but what I do instead here is I just put in this vendor check. So I get rid of the extra stuff. If I decide I want to change vendor check, actually this should be vendor check min. So maybe that's the last one. Then if I need to change it, I can change it in one spot and it gets propagated to all my operations. And And that's one thing I've been trying to figure out, how to make my operations a little more simpler. Uh, and you know, that's the other thing with TSM, is I wish they had some sort of mechanism where I could use this operation, but then incorporate it into uh, another operation that just changes the posting amount, or the posting duration, or the min max, or whether to not post, or post at normal, post at max, stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff that there's that I'd like TSM to handle, but currently doesn't. So what you end up with is a whole list of uh, operations that are basically the same each time, but the only difference is whether it's max, norm, 48 hours, 24 hours, 12 hours, uh, whatever you might have there. And so I'm kind of, and I've got all these old operations that I need to go through and delete, but it gets pretty messy. So the easier way to keep things clean is to try to use custom strings wherever you can, to make your operations very generic, so you can make one change and uh, propagate that change to multiple places. So I think that's all I really wanted to talk about. But yeah, so if you go back here, come up with some formula that you want to use to kind of flag your items that tell you that, hey, maybe it's not worth bothering to post, and maybe you just learn the appearance, or vendor it, or disenchant it. So anyway, y'all take care. Have a great one.